Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome, friends, to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings, The Masters, picks, bets, one and done, entire preview, plus who you don't want to take, or maybe who you do want to take, depending on how you feel about the Andercurse this week. Tim Andercust will be in studio with us a little bit later on. Always consult the time codes if you want to jump around a little bit. But before you do that, smash the like to the episode, sub to Mayo Media Network, and I'm giving over $1,000 of giveaways away, some cash, some Fantasy National memberships, whatever it might be, whatever tickles your fancy, get in the draw. Get your ballots in the draw. If you sub to the newsletter, that's 5 ballots right away. But all of the information is in the newsletter right now, along with an extensive Masters written preview. Highly suggest that you go check it out. But the number one thing that you can do to get the most ballots, 10 ballots in the draw, hell, you get 20 if you do both of them. Subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast on Apple or Spotify. You leave your 5-star review, make up something you like, or don't even make it up. Say something nice about this show. Leave your email or Twitter handle. That way I know you're in the draw. If it's on Spotify and you cannot leave a review, just rate 5 stars and screenshot it to me at the PME on Twitter. All right, fantasynational.com/Mayo will get you 20% off all membership levels this week. And if you want to win the free year of Fantasy National, you got to be a member already. Okay, Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a Masters. It's a special event. Are you excited?
I am very excited, as always, to be here with you. It is Masters Week. There's lots to be excited about. Days are lasting longer, which is upsetting to Tim. I am like a little paranoid about the weather. Like some cold water got thrown on me. Like I'm paranoid the integrity of the tournament gets thrown out. And by that, I mean, well, I guess we don't really have the wave advantages here because it's such a small field, but
and everyone starts at 1.
Saturday looks like it could be just a total washout. And I know we're a few days out and I'm not a weather expert, but that's just sort of, honestly, you start that weather pattern, we could be looking at a Monday finish.
Well, that would put a wrench into our Sunday Night Live recap show.
That certainly would, and I really hope we don't get a wrench into our cut sweat because our cut sweats they've been running up against something lately. Even the players got called 2 minutes after we went live. I feel like last year they were all a cluster expletive for the most part.
Yeah.
No bad vibes. Good vibes only.
You're starting Monday off with bad vibe. We just got the reset of odds. Yeah. Didn't really go. It's that third tier of golfer that dropped. All the guys that were just randomly like 45 to 1, 50 to 1, they're all now 60 to 1, 70 to 1, 80 to 1. But there wasn't that much movement at the top, which I was kind of surprised about. Maybe we let it breathe a little bit during the week.
Yeah, I think it's going to breathe. I think they did a minor reset. I still think we can get a major reset. I have memories, Pat, of Tuesday seeing some things in the past year and a half or so in this new gambling landscape that weren't available to us, say, on the Monday in terms of the outright odd betting. But it does seem like, Pat, a few guys in the middle tier who maybe you were waiting on or got greedy with didn't move up like I thought. And that would be sort of like a Victor or an M. I thought there was a chance we could see some guys move to a 50. Even Hideki has come down. So I thought guys would maybe get bigger on a reset. They didn't. And for months, for maybe a full year, when asked about the Masters, I just have this go-to line of, I just haven't decided which really good player I'm going to have to bet a lot on to win the Masters. And it seems like Judgment Day is coming for those decisions, and I'm still wavering in what card construction will look like.
You mentioned that the rain is coming on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as of right now. So Tambo and I will go over the weather when we give away the giveaway winners on Wednesday because we'll just be closer to it. But it looks like it's going to be 48 and raining on Saturday. So who is the best cold weather rain golfer you know?
Okay.
Does this just lean all the Brits who play well at the Open?
Maybe that's something you can think of. It's not so much for me at this moment in trying to identify who's great at rain golf, which is key. I'm also trying to identify who freaking hates it. Like, some guys do not like being uncomfortable out there. They're very fragile, delicate flowers. In the past, I've looked at Patrick Cantlay potentially as one of those players. That
Morikawa.
that every time I have to see him bundle up, the score goes the wrong way. The wrong way. And I'm not writing off either of those players. They're actually both top of mind for me, especially if I don't find a way to get to the very top, which hinders being able to bet a pocket of players. But yeah, it's who can thrive in this and which guys have historically, when the rain gear is on, are just, they look and appear to be different players.
So maybe we just bet Danny Willett again. Maybe he wins again. He loves these conditions. These are hit because not only is it going to be super, as of right now, very rainy. Like it doesn't even look like they're going to play on Saturday or Friday afternoon, based on what it says right now. But it's cold and it's also like 25-mile-per-hour winds. Like this might be a shit. The winter might be like +4. That kind of brings a lot more players into the mix than we're used to seeing at the Masters. Like the last time that I think that we saw a Masters like this was the year that Zach Johnson won. 2009, when he won at +1.
Yeah.
You okay?
No, I'm just taking it in. I'm just trying to take it in and how that affects what I potentially want to do. I'm taking in the fact that Saturday, although Sunday is like the main event, Saturday is the preeminent like Masters party day. It's like I have friends, you host parties, you get together, even have like kids running around. It's just like on everywhere, but it's not that super intense thing like it's Sunday. And to know that could get ruined out, it's honestly like telling me 4th of July is getting rained out.
I mean,
Saturday at the Masters.
We only have one bet. I mean, I only have one bet in so far. We bet Minwoo Lee 150-1. I like these conditions for that bet.
So we have the Minwoo Lee together. I also have Tony Finau at 50-1, which I clearly made when he started winning last summer, because I guess when football season ended, the pendings all sort of disappear, and some things came up that I didn't remember existed. But it's like whenever he pulled off his wins, I grabbed a 50 because you know me, I'm a Finau sucker. So the fact that he started winning, I guess in my head, I'm like, well, now that he can win regular events, it'll be time for him to win the Masters, and I'm happy to have that number. I probably would even be looking at Finau at 30 because I'm a dud like that.
Well, before I jump too far into my wagers this week, there is certain information that I need to gather. That is, who are the most Andercust golfers of the week? So let's bring him in studio. It is certified insane person, Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
Not my name.
Not your name.
No.
But you're in studio with us.
Does seem that way.
With Geoff as well. Never get to do this. Now we have it. So we need to know, right off the hop, your 3 most cursed picks for the Masters.
So I wouldn't put it that way.
I
I'll
would.
give you my 3 picks that I like.
Many are saying that's what it is.
So my third pick is Mito Pereira. I've been talking with him for a while. Is that someone I would take it?
So it's your long shot.
He's my long shot. He's been playing great on LIV Tour. He played great again this week. Helped bring his team to a very respectable finish.
What team is he on again?
Torque.
The Talque?
Torque.
The Talque JC?
JC. Anyway, so Mito is my long shot. I nearly won at Southern Hills.
What happened to him at Southern Hills? Do you remember?
He had a bad hole.
Yeah, what did you tweet?
That it was anticlimactic and that he was going to win and it was going to be sort of uninteresting.
Ooh, okay.
And then, like usual, Justin Thomas wins the tournament by stealing it at the end.
I mean, you won with Justin Thomas. He stole my Will Zalatoris.
I had both.
You had both of them. Yeah.
I had both. I had an incredible majors last year. I had Rory at the Masters, which was a Foss second, but it went in as a second, but I still won no money.
You had Cam Smith.
And then I had Cam Smith. I had the playoff of
Z
and JT, both of them, and then I had Z at the U.S. Open. So I had there was no sweat at the Masters.
I had Zalatoris and Scheffler at the U.S. Open.
Scheffler collapsed on the back
Yeah,
nine.
thanks to him. Oh, shit, yeah. Scheffler's really got it rolling. Bogey, 3-putt, bang. It was so bad, it made the Custies.
That was a fun U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It was a fun track.
That was
great.
Wish
they'd go back there sometime.
You really liked when they put the goalposts up, didn't you? Remember that?
So obnoxious. People are like obsessed about like the Players Gold golfer guy.
They got rid of him.
That was 1,000 times better than the uprights on the 14th hole at the country club.
They did that somewhere else this year.
What, the uprights?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you where we will not see that happen. The Masters.
No.
Well, CBS doesn't play those games.
And Augusta wouldn't allow it.
So Mito is your third pick. Debutant, mind you.
He is a debutant, but
1983, I believe.
Fuzzy Zeller.
79 or 83. Yeah, Fuzzy Zeller.
And
Oh, is that a regular sized Pepsi
right.
Max? Looks delicious.
yeah, it's awful.
Premier Diet Soda.
It's not even a diet soda. It's a zero soda. There's a diet Pepsi. We even call that a diet soda.
Do you actually see Pepsi rebranded? They got a new logo and
I
everything?
actually think
he liked their logo.
I think to give them their due, the new logo looks better than whatever this is. I gotta think it does. The traditional, it's like a sort of a retro go back to the traditional logo. It looks much better than that.
I think they should just go back to like the late 80s Pepsi logo. That's like the iconic Pepsi
I
logo.
agree.
Like
the Cindy Crawford,
like the
Michael Jackson.
hair on fire
Yeah.
Pepsi
Yeah, like
logo.
that's
Cindy
what Burger King
Crawford.
did, right? They went back to their old logo. Like,
Is it helping Burger King?
I don't know, but a lot of companies I've noticed and sports teams have gone back to their old logos, old colors, and it looks nice, and it's a good decision.
So Mito number 3, who's number 2?
Number 2 is Brooks Koepka.
Oh my God.
The winner this week at LIV Orlando. And,
What team is he on?
he is on,
I know it.
is it Smash? I think it's Smash
Yeah,
GC.
Smash GC.
He's on Smash GC.
I thought that was Bryson's team.
No.
No, Bryson is.
So Brooks's odds over the past like 2 days, they were at 55. They were at 75 to 1. Then they were at 50 to 1. What's the lowest you've seen them now? Like 25 to 1?
Yeah, 30, 33. I even saw probably a peak of 90, Pat, at some point in this.
Like over the
season.
past 2 weeks.
Yeah, so now we're back. Like Brooks played great at LIV Orlando. I just don't get like why was Brooks a great play now potentially, but all the other LIV guys aren't. Not to
Because they didn't win on LIV.
I mean, CH3 and Danny Lee aren't going to be eligible for. Although I think they actually should be. If Augusta's going to let in people with previous wins, I think they should let winners on the LIV Tour in too.
I don't know where.
Be fair.
I respect that you are like not
Crazy.
hating on LIV and you're like very open
he
to
used
it.
to hate on LIV.
I still-
all of his favorite players went to play on LIV.
But I don't know when the bit ends when you tell me because Danny Lee won in Tucson, he should be at the Masters.
He won a tournament. He won a
But you are-
a tour tournament.
And to you, that's like you'll use that as like, well, someone won the Honda Classic.
Well, should people from the DP were like, you win the Irish Open, should you automatically get into the Masters?
Irish Open's a good enough tournament where I wouldn't object to that. Because that's a good enough.
That could be a Rolex series.
Honestly,
I don't
there
know
should-
the
It is a
rules on
Rolex
that.
series, but Ryan Fox didn't get in because he won
Honestly,
in
there
Ireland.
should be like a factor where the strength of the field results in if you win a tournament with that field strength, you get into the tournament.
Well, what determines field strength?
Well, I don't know. I'm not the person.
If
who
it's the world golf rankings, that's bad news for LIV.
And you only like you came to this decision on Brooks
over the last few
like
days.
just because he contended. In
But I mean, also the logic is like Brooks is historic. Like if you've got him within a stroke coming down the stretch at a major championship, there's not very many golfers whom you feel better about than Brooks Koepka.
I agree. I said it. Say now, watching. I think what would it have been the players that when Scheffler is contending. I have the feelings that I had of Brooks during his run. Like it feels like, oh my God, all my bets are done. Can't stand this guy.
Scheffler has that Brooks thing when Brooks was going through the major run. I know because I think I had money on Brooks of one of those 4 wins, and the other one's like, oh, Brooks is dead. Great. I remember very vividly. Now I can't remember the course. I think it was Shinnecock. Yeah, it was Shinnecock Hills, and he like duffed it on a par 3 into like the fescue or whatever it was. It's like finally. Tommy has an opportunity here to get to stick it. And all Brooks did was he like hacked it out of the fescue and he put it to like 17 feet. And what does he do? Steps up, just center of the cup. Scheffler does that every single time,
even
it feels like.
2 years ago at Kiowa, like until like the second last hole, Brooks was still a favorite to win that PGA championship the whole way through. Because like everyone kind of thought Brooks was going to jump over Phil and they was going to win the championship.
But I mean, you watch the Netflix. I don't know if you watched the Netflix thing or not, but we watched the Netflix thing. Feels like he has shattered confidence. Do you think winning in Riyadh and Orlando gets it all back for him?
I hope if he didn't win this Orlando event,
he'd be 90 to 1.
I would be in this place where like I am worried for Brooks Koepka's health because if he goes to the Masters and doesn't have a good week, he is going to be like morbid in the sense that last year was such an embarrassment for him at the Masters. And people can say what they want. When you're Brooks Koepka and you finish worse than Tiger Woods did at last year's Masters when Woods couldn't walk, when Woods was doing like that is a dart to the ego on top of all the other darts that Brooks took last year. He's looking for, I mean, he's on this like world, I don't want to call it revenge because I think that's a silly way to look at the LIV guys. Everyone wants to win the Masters. Like everyone really wants to win the Masters. I don't think playing for LIV makes you want to win the Masters
I agree with that.
more.
It's probably good for your franchise value if you're looking to sell NFTs of your franchise value down the road, like Sergio.
Or just sponsorships.
He's already got sponsorships.
But like additional ones. Anyway, I just think Brooks is obviously back to playing some better golf against great competition. He takes it a win, and now he travels a very short distance up to Augusta, and he is a killer in major championships. So let's go Brooks.
Mito Pereira, your number 3 pick. Brooks Koepka, your number 2 pick. Who is the most cursed golfer going into Augusta
I
National?
think we see back-to-back major championship wins with Cameron Smith.
All LIV guys.
As he it didn't.
This
I didn't
isn't- this
intend-
is-
I didn't-
Is this
Stop.
a bit?
No, I had the second spot in Pat will attest.
All
I had
3 spots.
I had the second spot wide open for somebody else all week, and I was debating between Jason Day, Tyrrell Hatton. Like I was open to who I'd put in that last.
And
spot.
Brooks, like, and I get it. You see Brooks, he's winning again.
And that was enough to like, you know what? I wanna, people who win at Augusta are people who are coming off hot streaks or coming off wins in recent form. Brooks just won a tournament. He's really good. And Cameron Smith is one of the 3 best players in the world. And he won the British Open.
I mean, confidence is king for
And if
a
you
guy
win it,
like
and
Brooks.
St. Andrews and the Masters, there's a lot of relationship between the winner at St. Andrews and the winner at Augusta. So Cam Smith makes a lot of sense.
There's rumblings he's dealing with something in the hand.
He may be. That I mean, I don't know.
And if he's trying and LIV, the results probably show that he's dealing with something.
Like he sat on his hand to give himself a stranger, but the feeling never came back?
I'm not sure, but there have been reports that he's not 100%.
He may not be, but like
He's definitely not going to be now.
nevertheless, I
I
didn't
mean-
intend for it to be 3 LIV guys. I had given Mito a while ago. That was a pre-given. And I, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like, Cam Smith, he's going to be my top-notch guy I'm going to take. And I was an open competition for me who would be in second place. And if Hatton had played really, really well this week, I probably would have taken him. But he didn't, and he didn't play well in San Antonio or in Austin. So I was like, you know what? Brooks just won. He's a Florida guy. It's a short trip. He's a major championship killer. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Brooks, despite his odds being short. I don't think he's going to be a very.
He got annihilated by a lot of people you follow on the internet yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, just by being in the lead in the LIV event. They're like, they saw what you saw. He's back. Let's bet him to win.
Okay.
These are great
And
odds.
And I
I
speak
mean-
for the people in this sense.
Yeah, I don't know how long those 75s were hanging around, but people messaged me who I didn't think would be anywhere near that to ask me if I did it.
Did you?
No.
Neither did I. I still only have 1 Masters bet in, as of like we speak right now. So.
As for LIV, I think it's very dangerous to blindly count them out. I think that is a very dangerous strategy. These guys, a lot of them will play to the talent we know they have. I can't be convinced otherwise. It's simply a numbers game. That's right. There are too many of them in this field, and a lot of them, not all of them, like not Phil and not Charles and not Sergio, but just about all those guys.
Go crack.
Not so,
Gooch.
Well, I like
no, but I'm more talking about
I'm not saying whether you like them or not. Do you think Varner's going to win the Masters?
No, I am more
I
in
would've
the
picked him, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I am more willing to
He
believe.
never won a PGA event.
I am willing to believe in that LIV layer that goes beyond Cam, DJ Brooks. Like
Yeah, I would say
Louis,
I think
Answer,
Neiman.
Reed.
Yeah, sure.
Reed
Reed.
for sure. Reed. Could win
Reed.
it
The
again.
last time
Louis-
that there
Louis
was
could win it.
the last time there was an event that had a lot of LIV and a lot of PGA or world players, Rory had to hit a 14-footer on the last to beat Patrick Reed.
Now, in fairness, he hit his ball into a tree and got free relief from it.
Okay, I'm just saying, it can be close. And they can be there. And the notion, in 2 years from now, when we're doing this, 2 years isn't a huge sample, but we'll have an idea. How do the best players play from LIV going into the Masters?
That's fair.
But right now, it's a total unknown. And I can respect if someone's because of that unknown, I want nothing to do with them. But at the same time, I think that's dangerous because they're talented, and a lot of them are going to play to the talent we know they have.
You would think so.
Do you think it's hilarious that we just brought up all the LIV guys and not once was Bryson's name mentioned?
He hasn't shown it.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Like
Well,
he should be able to like
par 69, right? Or something.
67.
67?
I mean, he missed the cut when he was playing at his very best, like 2 years ago.
His
So,
best performance ever is when he was the AM and you got jumped on the Bryson train because he was wearing the Dom DeLuise hat.
ever since he won the U.S. Open at Winged Foot, just a switch got flipped in his career, and like he tried to be a different person, and it just hasn't worked. I don't know. Like he obviously won the Arnold Palmer the next spring, but it just I don't know. Now maybe, as many people were saying, the way he was trying to win golf tournaments was an unsustainable approach to golf. It does seem to be that way.
And it's funny because so many guys went out of their way to replicate what he was doing. Like Rory is on record being like, I need to get extra length.
Sure.
And Rory was already one of the 5 biggest hitters on the tour. And then he went out of his way to do that. It seems like he scaled that back a little bit now, which is kind of crazy to think about. I might bet one of the LIV guys. Like I've been circling Dustin for a while. It feels like there's like
Dustin played well this week.
I'm just going to wait because it doesn't like now that people are actually actively betting Brooks, which we've seen, and he's going to be sub 35 to 1. Cam Smith is going to stay at 20 to 1. DJ's been hanging out around 25, 28, whatever it is. If he's not drawing any handle, he's going to be like 35, 40.
I think you see a 40.
Which seems crazy for DJ.
Crazy, and he literally might be, as Brooks loves to portray, and our friend Kenny Kim pointed this out on Twitter last week, as Brooks loves to portray this I give zero fucks attitude, when you compare Brooks's attempt to have zero fucks given to DJ's, it's like not even close. Dustin Johnson is the standard bearer. He is the pinnacle of zero fucks given. Anyone who tries to claim they don't care about things, you just compare them to DJ and you're like, you are lying to us or you're just a phony or something.
Do you believe that the DJ I don't give a fuck it's not an act? That's just
No,
DJ.
I don't think it's not
and
an
he
act.
can roll out of bed and shoot a 67 on that golf course. That's not because Paulina said so on Full Swing. I actually believe that of him. Can you win this tournament without your A game?
No.
That's the question. That's like, does 40 to 1 matter if you don't have your A game?
But his like laid back approach goes to something you've always said, which is he was the only one when they did the tour interviews about LIV where he's like, yeah, I did it for the money. He didn't feel like he had to like construct a big argument about why he was doing it. It was simply
And no one gave him shit over it either.
And he never complained about world golf rankings.
Never
And he
once.
never complained about being kicked left off of Ryder Cup or
Or
President's
Adidas-
Cup.
or Adidas taking
and he
away
hasn't
sponsorship.
complained that anyone's forgotten his birthday. We've almost grown to like DJ more in ways that we've grown to maybe pick on other guys who made this transition.
I feel
2.5
like
years ago, he had the lowest score to par, I think, at Masters history.
it was a November Masters.
Sure, but it's still the same course.
Sure, but it was a different time of year.
It was.
There was guys who went really low that year too. Like he won at 20 under.
Cameron Smith went
like
really low that
Sungjae
year.
was second place.
Sungjae
right?
in his debut was second place. I think they were both like 16 under or
Yeah.
something, which would win like 90% of the
Yeah,
Masters.
I think DJ was at 20 under
he was
par.
20 under.
Yeah.
That beat the Spieth record.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, those top tier LIV guys, they're all live.
Who has the worst chance of winning this event?
From LIV?
No.
I stand by. I've been saying for 7-8 years, and I'll continue to say it. I think Jordan Spieth is never going to win the Masters again. And it happened, multiple years. He steps up on the 12th tee, and things start to disintegrate.
That was fantastic though.
No, but like
that
the
made
next
Jeff
year-
but that made Jeff and I's career.
I know it did, but like the next year it happened, and it happened again another year.
And it will get brought up every time he steps on the 12th tee until he wins the Masters again, if it ever happens. Every time he steps on the 12th tee, that replay is going to be shown.
And you want to
is.
know something?
I think it's in his head.
Has to be.
I saw an interview with him recently. It might have been last week, and he was asked about how he's feeling for the Masters and
I'm betting him first round leader, by the way.
and those close calls, Pat. And he goes, I need another Masters because I feel I've given a couple away.
He has.
He has.
Yeah, so in his mind, he will never be content without, he needs to get one back because he is still, as I think any golfer would relive those. He gave it away. And I guess when he went through his struggles, like you sort of probably think back to what you gave away when you did have
Definitely.
what you had. And he's come in his own, he's his own pocket on the betting board. I don't think that's going to change, right? We have the big three, and he's going to be a standalone guy.
He's fourth on the betting board. Maybe if someone gets if people all want to bet Cam Smith or Cantley or Xander or Morikawa or Thomas, whoever it is, if there's one of those guys that draws all the attention, they could get up into the Spieth category.
Do you think people will not want to bet LIV Guys? They'll have this.
Yeah, I think there's people
that there will be
will.
genuine value on them because, or in DraftKings, there'll be a lot of value on them. People are like, I don't know, these guys are on this funky tour that's not real. I don't want nothing to do with
I
them.
think it depends. I think that people are going to glom on to 2 or 3 LIV guys who they perceive as great value, and I think that Brooks was that guy, and now his value is gone.
I believe that there's so much disrespect towards these LIV guys that if there was a player, take any LIV player, I'd like just use an example, Abe Answer. If Abe Answer missed the last 7 months with a labrum tear, but he showed up a week ago and looked healthy and looked fine and looked like Abe, that would be respected more by fans and the sports books than going to the casual golf.
Yes.
If Abe Answer was, he wouldn't be 160, he'd be like 80, 100 or something. Casual golf is respected less by the books as we're talking than if someone had a significant injury, but they've played an event and they've shown you they made the cut and they're healthy or something.
And let's not forget, Answer was the one who won that Asian Tour event that Cameron Young went over to play. That was LIV. It was the week after the Patrick Reed Rory over in the Middle East. It was that or 2 weeks later, whatever. Like Min Woo finished really like high up in that event. It was like DP, PGA guys, and LIV guys. Abe Answer was the one who ended up winning that. So at least he has a win coming into the year. I don't think it's necessarily him that's being disrespected from the LIV end. I think it's Sergio, Reed, those guys.
Phil.
Who... I mean,
Phil won the major 2 years ago.
I understand that, but like since Phil won that major, he's been absolute dog.
He's been not just like he's been so bad at LIV, like
fair enough,
horrible.
And he was bad, and he's been bad in the majors too.
And before he won that major, what did he do? He won a Champions Tour.
He won back-to-back Champions.
So
events.
I don't know whether that's an example that we shouldn't. I'm not calling Champions Tour casual golf, but I would argue that LIV is probably as hard or harder to win. Like they're really big names. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
put it this way: I think that LIV is more competitive
than Champions Tour.
Only because you can have an in-your-prime Cameron Smith
on
the LIV Tour.
So that is sort of my point. And we saw what, to the Brooks bet, people who are on that, we saw what winning a Champions Tour event did for Phil. Why shouldn't winning a LIV event maybe do that for Bryson or anyone in the future, I guess? Phil, though, he's like last place LIV.
I know, but at the same time,
he is a liability to the high flyers.
He is. Oh, he is. He definitely is. But at the same time, he won a major 2 years. He didn't play this tournament last year, so it's not like he played badly at Augusta last year.
No, but he played horrible at the Open.
Still
he played horrible
shocked.
at the U.S. Open.
Yes, he did, but he always plays badly at St. Andrews.
Still shocked he didn't play
And
the Masters last year.
He hadn't played the country club in like 20-some odd
Listen,
years.
I think Phil will be fine here, but we're talking about an outright winning bet. I don't think Phil's going to win. I don't think that Tiger's going to win the Masters
do you
either.
think
My deep fear is that Scheffler's just going to win by 12 strokes.
That's the thing that I fear the most. I'm still
about it.
considering like betting on Scheffler.
It could happen.
Do you think, or it's just not possible because the field size, like the 260 to 1 on Taylor Gooch, we're not going to get a T20 that correlates to that number.
No, but obviously, I mean, I'm not even if you make him 500 to 1, I'm not betting Taylor Gooch to win. He's not winning.
No, I said a T20 that correlates to like.
But that's not how the Masters works in general.
I know.
On any of these, so that I think that's a foolish argument.
You're
to
right.
Go after.
It's a fool. Yeah.
Like if I'm going to bet a top 20, I'm probably just going to bet Cameron Champ, who sucks but plays well at Augusta for reasons unknown, like Corey Connors and Will Zalatoris, who can somehow putt at Augusta. So you mentioned Spieth with no chance. Is there anyone else you see having no chance to win?
I hate to say it, but I think the pressure of the Grand Slam disqualifies Rory for the time being until it stops being a story. The first Masters opening few days where people aren't obsessed about is Rory going to complete the Grand Slam.
It's never going to happen.
Well, eventually,
unless he's so old that he's like can't.
Like, do you think it's because it's Rory and because it's Augusta that it's a story that gets made every year, and because he's constantly good? But this never comes up with Spieth at the PGA Championship.
No, but it did come up with Phil at the U.S. Open for 20
years.
But
Spieth only needs the PGA Championship to do this.
Yeah,
that's true.
No, you're right.
It never does come up.
Like it's not a narrative there.
And from go with Rory, it's been a narrative. From like the moment it was his first time. I guess
because he hit the house on 10.
And Spieth never really contended at I could be wrong. Maybe
I believe he came third to Dustin and Brooks at
Bellerive or no?
No, the one in the Northeast.
Dustin,
the one that was super hard. Luke List came in second.
Wingfoot. No, that was the U.S. Open.
Dustin hasn't won the PGA Championship.
No, Brooks won. Dustin came second.
Brooks won at Bethpage Black.
It was Bethpage. Spieth came third.
What did I say?
You said Shinnecock.
He won the U.S. Open at Shinnecock.
Yeah.
But he won at Bethpage Black and he won at Bellerive.
Yeah, it was Bethpage Black. Spieth came in third. That was the year that we had Luke List at 200, and he came like.
And then he won Aaron
That makes
Hills
sense. It's a
Aaron Hills
super
also.
hard course.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like 2 bombers and then 1 big scrambler.
If the weather is super tough, I mean, Spieth's got a better chance than if it's a easy high scoring Masters.
I don't know.
He ain't winning a Masters.
He had the best score 2 par ever at one of the easiest Masters.
He was out of his mind.
That
was also 8 years ago.
He's driving the ball so well right now.
That's why I like him as first round leader, because like even in the years where he hasn't been good, he just remember when he almost came back to beat Ricky and Reed that year. He just had an amazing Sunday. Like he has these low rounds in him, and usually it used to be the Charlie Hoffman Memorial bet, but he can't qualify for the Masters anymore.
Matthew Fitzpatrick has no chance.
Fitz, so
Write him off.
Spieth, Rory, and Fitz, no chance to win.
Yeah, I feel the strongest actually about Spieth and Fitz, least about Rory of those 3.
I really hope. I don't want Spieth to win.
I kind of want
I
Spieth
don't.
to win. I've turned all my a complete
If Cam
180.
Smith wins, he starts the second. He's 2/4 of the way through the Live Slam.
Oh, the Live Slam. There is something about me wanting. I mean, I think it would be great if somehow Reed, Bryson, Brooks, those 3,
Not DJ.
not DJ, because people are apathetic towards DJ and Cam Smith. People still like them. I would say Sergio would be the other one.
And,
But I just
and
don't.
Mickelson.
Yeah, but I just don't think that they have an opportunity. They're probably not going to be.
agree.
And Bryson's probably not going to be there, too. That's wishful thinking.
I agree with
But
that.
I think it's good for golf if these guys are in one of the final groups.
Wouldn't it be good for them if Liv won one of these majors this year? One of them?
I think like if I was to script how
Yes.
golf is going to go, I would give. I mean, if I was going to script this, Rory would win the Masters. That's what or Tiger would win the Masters.
Well, yeah, sure.
But like a PGA guy wins the Masters, but like the LIV guy takes the PGA Championship or something like that. The LIV guys getting one this year, I think, would be huge.
I agree. Because if they don't win anything again, and they really don't compete
But
again,
what do you mean again?
Like
now they have to win a
but they
major to
looked-
be legitimate?
No, but
That
they looked,
seems...
No, they don't. But if they look poorly, like they did at the last 2 majors they really competed in, if they go another 2 or 3 majors where everybody plays poorly, like at some point it stops being coincidence, meaning what's going on here? Like these are the best players in the world. They should.
It's the best players, and it's a course that most of the guys you're counting on are very comfortable with.
Yes, even Louis. Right?
I mean, they went out and they basically just took like half the still
Champions,
alive
yeah.
Masters champions to join the LIV Tour.
I can't wait for the photos from Tuesday night.
See, I
can't wait for it.
I think this whole LIV versus PGA players not liking each other thing is completely overblown. I really don't think the players care that much. I think there's a few guys they don't like, but it was the guys they didn't like anyway. Like no one likes Patrick Reed. No one ever liked Patrick Reed. People don't really like Phil. No one ever really liked Phil.
Yeah.
Like, do you think Bubba Watson, just because he made like weirdo comments, people hate Bubba Watson now? No, absolutely not. People like Bubba
The
Watson.
older guys,
People
might.
still like
the
Varner.
old guys who don't play anymore might though. Like
Oh,
you're talking about the guys who don't play the tournament anymore, just show up to the dinner, like a Marco Mira.
Or whatever.
Great.
But like it doesn't take much to start. Anyway, I hope not. Scheffler deserves a good dinner.
Did you like his menu?
I think it looks delicious.
There was one thing I didn't know what it was that was on it. I forget what it
Confetti
is.
cake?
Yeah, what is that?
What is
It's
that?
like birthday cake.
That's a weird dessert.
It's like vanilla cake with like sprinkles or whatever.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like something like
No,
super,
no.
super weird.
I mean, I love vanilla cake with icing.
I think
so
that's what it's like.
I
It's like-
enjoy
Did they
that.
have mass at his Masters dinner?
They will probably have to say grace, yeah.
I'm sure they say grace anyway at Augusta National before the.
But what if the champion didn't want that?
I suppose if they didn't want it, they
Well, you
would.
think they said it for Hideki?
I suspect they probably.
Do you
did.
think they said it for Spencer Levine when he won?
Well, grace doesn't have to be a Christian prayer.
Is that true?
So yeah, of course you can say. Prayers
I'm
over
looking
meals.
forward to betting like a DJ over Brooks prop. Now that Brooks has been steamed to the best player in LIV.
Yeah, and we'll see what that ends up opening at. Hopefully all that stuff just gets dropped. Like the odds will reset, get dropped, obviously, and then boom, we get the whole smorgasbord of all the Masters bets that we
I'm
can
out
make.
on Mike Weir making the cut. He's
think
a
Mike Weir-
cut. He made it a couple of years. He's missing the cut. TSM will have him in the saddle Saturday and Sunday the whole day.
I mean, I feel like it's more financially beneficial to him if he does miss the cut and gets to be on TV for 2 straight days.
Maybe.
That would be my guess on the situation anyway. And there's a new Canadian who can win the Masters now anyway.
Corey Connors.
Exactly.
Who's the old guy who will inevitably be a story for 3
There
days?
hasn't been one of those in a while.
Really?
Yeah, Longer is the last one to truly like kind of be in it, and that was the Danny Willett year. That's 7 years ago.
There hasn't been like an old. I mean, I guess you technically Tiger, but
Tiger's like 45.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any like older hands that.
It's usually Longer, like Longer in 2020.
Longer Freddie.
Yeah, but Freddie hasn't been competitive
Yeah, it's
since
been a while.
2010 years. 2010?
Phil's turn, right? To
Yeah,
take that
Phil is kind of the
mantle?
guy.
Sure. I mean, and Phil did just win a major 2 years.
Who's
Like,
a little older than Phil that would have won just before him?
It was Tiger all those years.
Oh yeah,
like Weir.
Mike Weir.
And
You
then
know,
Mark
if-
O'Mara.
yeah,
can't
if
do it.
Immelman played, which he doesn't, Immelman would be one of those people. Or Zach Johnson.
Yeah, I guess Zach Johnson's pushing
Zach
50.
would be the guy.
It wouldn't shock me if the way that they've set the course up.
But
now,
I don't think we would treat Zach.
No, because he still plays on tour.
Yeah, I mean he's the Ryder Cup captain. That'd be a great fun thing for him to play great. But we wouldn't treat him like this. Oh my God! How
senior statesman.
Yeah,
Sort of, okay.
Like it would be whoa, but it wouldn't be this.
You'd be like, oh, Zach Johnson's not going to win.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if he could come inside the top 5 or something like that. If he was in contention.
You think they said grace at his champions dinner?
Oh, they did. I had a whole circle.
Do you like the course change?
I love the change to 13.
Yeah, it looks
because
good, right?
everybody was able to rope a 3-wood around the corner just about and get a real crack at it. And where that hole was way, way under par. I don't think that's going to happen nearly as much this year.
It's still going to be the easiest hole on the course.
But there won't be the
I think
eagle.
2 will.
Yeah, there won't be a-
I think 2 will be the easiest on the course.
I mean, 2 is pretty difficult.
Not on Sundays. They are setting you up for real opportunities at Eagle with that pin placement. It's in the traditional spot.
It's really hard to make a, like, yes, there's, like, the birdies are still going to come in, like, droves on 13. There's just going to be fewer eagle chances.
I think there'll be very few Eagle
But-
chances.
but-
But the potential to make a huge number on 13 really isn't there. Like, Sergio got it in as bad as he could get it against Rose and still made par.
So that is my point. 13 feels like we're just gonna watch guys chip it and spin it to a foot from 50 yards or something.
that's okay.
Or they're going to take their long irons at it.
It's also the hole that Tiger should have been disqualified at the Masters.
No, that was 15.
That was
wasn't
the
it?
other one.
13.
No, it was the
It was
other
15?
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he laid up.
What's the one with the water behind the hole?
that's
Like if you
that's
go
the other
deep,
par 5.
That's 15?
Yeah.
And they lengthened that one last year,
Firethorn.
and there were no eagles for the week. Now it could have been a win thing, so we don't want to.
I mean, that one is more difficult anyway
It
to
is.
eagle. Like, Phil was able to reach the green from the pine straw with a 6-iron on 13.
Between those 2 trees.
It's just, I don't think that there's going to be a disincentive to go for it if you're even, like, you have the possibility to get there. Because if you do put it in the water on 13 short, it's an easy up and down for par.
Yeah, but I think so many people are going to make birdies there that you kind of have to make birdie, and taking that like a par is like a bogey. And therefore, it makes more sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
And they're so amazing with their wedges. It makes more sense to hit your 3-wood out there and then smack a 9-iron or a pitching wedge down to the bottom and then just spin one close.
I don't know.
And take your birdie.
If they have 5 wood or less, they're going for it.
I would agree.
Because there's really no down. In the worst spot you can put
Remember,
it
that
on
hole's
that.
also shaped like this.
Fair enough,
right?
but the worst spot that you
weird
can put it
stances.
on that hole is where Rory seemingly puts it every single year when he puts it in the fucking azalea bush over the green. Then he can't find his ball. Like, that's the only way to fuck up that hole.
It's a bad spot.
And that's going to be really hard to do, to put it in there if you're hitting 3 wood from down on the fairway.
13 was a fossil of a different time, and it needed to be updated a little bit. And I think it'll produce more interesting golf than it did.
I agree with you, but I'm saying
It
that
was too easy. Like
guys are still, there's going to be fewer eagles, but guys are still going to go for it.
But that will bring the scoring average on the hole down. Then.
Sure, but it'll still play as the easiest hole on the course.
Okay. I still think it will be 2, but you may be right.
I'd be curious to know. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. What the second easiest hole on the course is. I don't think it is 2.
You don't think?
No, I think 8.
Could be 8.
The other par 5.
8 and 14, and 14's an easy par 4. It's the one without any sand.
Or 16 on Sunday.
Or 16 on Sunday, unless you're Greg Norman.
Oh yeah, 16 on Sunday.
Is anyone going to get a hole in one this year?
I don't think so. I would say no to that. I don't think it's going to. I mean, obviously, you're sweating Sunday at 16.
That's it.
If they choose that, basically.
Didn't Connors make one at like 4 last year? Or
That's like
something
a
that?
250-yard.
I know. It's a really hard one.
I'd be hitting driver into par
Didn't
3.
we get 2 hole-in-ones at the Players in one day this year? At the 17?
I feel like we had like 4 hole in ones at the Players overall this year.
Maybe.
Yeah, because Hickok made one.
And then Buddy, not Hickok, the one who was with Jerry Kelly. Was it Smalley? Who was it?
Yeah, Alex Smalley.
Yeah.
That's who it was. And I think there was another one on top of that. I did ask you to rank your 3 favorite holes at the Masters.
Okay, so my favorite holes, my number 1 favorite, and that should be everybody, is 12, Golden Bell. That's the par 3. That's the decisive championship hole on the course.
Yeah,
For the
like
last 10 years, the winners or losers have been determined on that, what is a so deceivingly difficult hole. The way that the tee box is built into the first cut, the way that, you can never, ever come up short, but if you go deep, ask Tiger, you make it 10. It's the most perfect golf hole, most perfect modern golf hole. I think the road hole is the most perfect hole. It's the most perfect modern golf hole. It brings the most drama into play. It is Amen Corner at its most difficult, and it is the highest leverage hole on the golf course. If you've got someone up 3 or 4 strokes, you don't have a moment's peace until at least he gets through 12.
See,
if he gets through 12, that's the first step toward, okay, I got a real chance. 12 is that hole. So that's my favorite hole there.
I like 11.
11 is my second
11?
favorite.
I like 11.
I
the
don't
best.
like that they get rid of the trees.
There's still those 3 lingering trees, and guys got stuck behind them last
Sure,
year.
11
But
is my second
that is
favorite.
legit. I think the hardest hole in the
That's
course.
with the water.
Yeah,
With water on the left, going down the hill.
That is a
and
meat
no
grinder.
one even wants to take on the pin. The penalty
No,
there
that's
is a
a
guaranteed double. They
yeah.
all rather just bail out
Go
and
bail
take
out,
their
right.
luck hitting a 6-foot par
That's my
putt or
second
something,
favorite. I
right?
love that hole.
No one. The thing is, no one. What I don't like about 11 is it feels like no one even tries to take it on.
Yeah, but the thing with 4 and 11 is 2 or 3 guys every round are going to make birdie.
And you will grab
Yeah,
two or
And
three
it's
strokes
like
on
a
the field.
2-shot swing for you on the
It's
field.
the types of holes that like Hovland and make birdie on
Yes.
because they actually are like
Like they'll
they-
go pin seeking.
Yeah, always. They never stop just attacking a pin and they hit the shot and they're good enough to do it, but they'll then not take advantage of. I have this thing that Victor always birdies the hardest holes.
yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like the new Finau, where Finau would just par the easiest hole on the course every single time. But Victor actually just actively birdies the hard holes
hard
and then
holes.
bogeys the
Yeah.
easy holes.
And
somehow.
then 2 is my third favorite because it is the
2
first par
is
5.
too easy a little bit.
It can be, but it's the pace setter for that tournament. Like when Louis dumps it in for double eagle, like that sets the tone. On Sunday, if you're going to compete and win that tournament, you're going to hit a great shot on 2.
I disagree.
It really gets because 1 is such a blah hole.
The way that
kind of
you-
tournament begins at 2.
See, I think the tournament begins at 3. Because 3 is a swing hole. Because sometimes they'll set it up where you can kind of drive 3.
Sure, no, 3 is a fun hole.
And like everyone always wants to lay up to the left, and then when you get that actual angle of what it looks like in real life, it's like, oh, you're chipping it up a mountain, and you like have no idea where it's going. You can spin it back
I
off
agree.
the green, back down that hill. That's one that Charles chipped in on
Okay.
to start his run. I
did.
love that hole.
Didn't Scheffler chip in on 3 on Sunday last year?
Yep.
The fucking hands on that guy. Like, he's unbelievable.
Would you back anyone who doesn't have hands at this course?
So Victor's out.
Well, it's funny you say that.
He's my guy. He's like my
Victor-
He's so good on the other pendulum that
Victor has lost strokes around the green in 90% of his non-major rounds. In major rounds, he has gained strokes around the green in 85% of them. That's insane.
Does that just seem like a outlier?
I honestly do not know.
I don't know.
I don't
want
know
to see
why
a
that's the
50.
case.
I want to see them drop a 50.
They're
in
not
my
dropping
face.
a 50.
I've seen 40 like 5s.
I might
think.
I'm on the fence about leaning into that. So what was your third favorite? So you have 13, 2, and 11?
13, 11, and 2.
Can I throw this out here? I wish 17 was a better hole.
I wish 18 was a big.
No,
18's
I love
my
I
second
love
least
the
favorite.
green on 18.
18's a bad finishing hole.
I like when they. I don't like the Sunday pin placement on 18. I like when
that's
the
no
pin.
fun either.
I like when the pin is in the very back of
It's
that.
just
green.
a
It's the-
plain
that's the
Jane
Friday
uphill
pin.
par 4. It's just for
But
such a
didn't they
great
change
course.
the pin last year?
Yes,
when
they
Scheffler
didn't
like
have the traditional-
9 putted and still won.
Rory didn't bunker into that traditional pin, I feel.
No, Rory and Morikawa
Yeah.
both made their
Yeah.
bunker shots.
16 and 18 are 2 holes I just don't care for.
18 just doesn't feel like it's got the teeth.
No,
But
it's not a suitable. It's a great hole somewhere else on the course. It's not a suitable.
I just
finishing
wanted Patrick Reed to bogey it so him and Ricky could have gone to a playoff.
Well, Ricky can't even play in the Masters now. Because he can't run down Corey Connors. It's tough.
I thought Cooch was going to win earlier this week, and he was going to get himself back into the Masters.
Well, unfortunately, he cannot
Did
get
you
himself
see
back in.
the Cooch who was telling one of the radio guys was telling the story?
Is our guy Will Haskett?
No, it's like Cooch in a nutshell. They see Cooch in the laundry room at the hotel in Valero doing his own laundry. This guy needs to keep every freaking dollar. Matthew Kuchar, he might be historically a top 10 earner in PGA all time based on him arriving with Tiger and taking full advantage of the life. He doesn't send out his laundry on tour.
So do you believe he made that sandwich himself that he ate on the fairway? Well,
There's a good
Steve had
chance.
30 minutes to decide to hit that shot.
He's got kids who are apparently his kid almost Monday qualied for an event.
Wow.
Anyhow,
Any final Masters thoughts for 2023 before we let you out of here?
I think it's going to be the most intriguing Masters that we've seen since
it's
Tiger's.
because you have 3 live guys winning.
Since Tiger's return in 2010. Where I think this is the biggest the most intrigue around this Masters. There's a cloud that's swirling around, not a negative one.
You don't think it's weird you picked 3 LIV guys, though?
Yes, it is weird, and it wasn't intentional, but that is the way.
And one of them wasn't Louis, who you pick at every major?
If Louis had played really well, he was one of the people that could have got into that 2 spot because he played really well at Tucson. Louis could have got there. I like Louis. I cheer for Louis. Louis should have won at Torrey Pines. If he just didn't hit it out of bounds on 17, he wins the U.S. Open. What was it? Was it Corey Connors or who was it? No. Which Canadian golfer was it?
Matt Hughes hit it into a tree.
Who apologized to him after he hit it into the water on 17. He said, gee, I wish we could trade drives, Louis. Because he felt so bad that Louis hit it in the water on 17.
Yeah. And Louis shanked one in the water in the team event with Charo, like before that too. He had this like late round, I'm gonna win Louis in the water run.
Yeah. Louis
Still has never won on U.S. soil.
But that's the thing. Like, you think anyone on tour has bad blood towards Louis?
No
chance.
Like no.
No chance. People hate Bryson. They hate Brooks. They hate Patrick Reed. They don't like Garcia.
Yeah, the guys they didn't like when they played on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So no big shocker there. All right, we'll let you go, and we'll get on with the bets and field breakdown. So I want to say thank you to Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
And yes, that is his name. Unfortunately, the weather that I'm looking at right now is Cam Smith weather. So now I don't know what to do.
I mean, firstly, does that mean LIV in general is cursed?
I don't know. I mean, LIV in general seems pretty cursed anyway, so maybe having Tim on their side is like a boost for them.
Firstly, credit to him because
Talke is actually how you pronounce it, as we found out.
Torque, if you listen to the broadcast, and as Tim has let us know after that as an avid LIV fan and viewer, that is how they pronounced it on the broadcast.
So Tim's actually watching.
Tim is watching.
He's one of the 4.
I did find something really amusing, not to go back into last week, but Munoz had a distance putt on 18 to tie Brooks, and I saw in some post-event transcripts or interview that he was nervous about Torque had a 1-stroke lead in the team event. He did not want to jeopardize the team total. I'm not making fun of him for this. It's like a dynamic that's like, whoa. Like this is a new, as is many things in LIV. Like I've never heard of that before.
I mean, that's the only place you're ever going to hear about it.
Yeah. So that also seemed weird, but I guess
it's the same thing as Connors on 18 yesterday. It's just like once he saw that Stevens missed the putt, he laid up, put it to 30 feet, and it's like, I can 2-putt from here for the win. No big deal.
And, I mean, to take something from the most recent PGA Tour event, Pat, which is something I feel like I say every Monday on this show now, and it's been a while. Golf betting appears to have gotten easier. I have just gotten worse. Now, that's not to say like other short end players did not play well. Hatton didn't even make the cut. Davis Riley, Montgomery.
Hideki exploded on number 3, and that was the end of him.
Yeah, and who was Connors second, or was there someone even in front of between Connors and Hatton?
Connors, Hideki.
Okay, and Hideki.
Hatton, Hideki, Connors.
So, obviously you could have gone to the top and been like, golf's not easy. I bet 3 guys at the top. I didn't win any of them.
Yeah, 2 of them missed the cut.
But my point being is like, okay, it's easy to say on the Sunday, but that Connors, the fact that only good players, and you could debate good, like Chris Kirkwan, you could debate that.
Yeah, but he was like 25 to 1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The top of the board is just winning. Florida brought us some wild card entities, which we love about Florida. But other than that, you still can't find them. And Corey, as a guy that puts so much money into the Corey well and doesn't get it back, I was still happy to see him win. But as we head to the Masters week, like just maybe don't overthink anything. Don't overthink weather. Don't just like sort of what's happened on tour this year is just pushing like 15 players only. And some would say that's too many. Some might say Fienberg, it's 8. Others might say it's 25. I'm a sucker for losers like a Fleetwood, a Hatton, a Connors in that sense. So
Connors is like a favorite this week. You might as well put him at 5 to 1 to win. Everyone's betting Corey Connors. It's 35 to 1 at DraftKings Sportsbook.
You know that the books listen, we've seen plenty of like boosted guys win. I don't want to run through them right now, but we saw it a bunch last year. Even JT at a major.
It was usually Finau.
It was Finau and it was the Scotty match play. JT at a major. It happened a bunch. I think even Burns on the back-to-back at Valspar. But last night, the boosted golfers were Brooks and Corey Connors. And that was almost like the book saying, if you need this crack because they just won, we'll even give you some juice on it. But they're like happily taking your current Corey and Brooks bets.
Yes.
Happily.
Well, now that they were both the most popular bets of Sunday for the Masters, you got to boost them back up a little bit. Really suck you in on them. Yeah. So let's go to the top of the board. After the great reset of the Masters odds, it wasn't really even all that great. It's 2 at the top now. There were 3. There's 2 at the top. Scotty and Rory are 7-1. Rahm is 9-1. Spieth is 16. Cantlay is the 5th favorite at DraftKings at 18-1. Then you got Thomas, Day, Finau all at 20. Dustin, Xander, Cam Smith at 22. Homa, Morikawa at 25. Cam Young at 28-1. Then you have Brooks at 30. Those are the top names on the Masters betting board. So the thing that I've been struggling with, and Cuss brought this up, and you and I have been talking about it for weeks now, doesn't it just seem like Scotty is unbeatable right now? And it's the same thing we said about Rahm a month ago. And now Rahm seems like he can't win. But, whew, I'm seriously considering betting. I mean, I wouldn't bet the 7. I see an 8.5. That we keep losing. I keep losing betting on golf when the answer is just Scotty Scheffler like every single time. Why wouldn't I just bet him? Like, do I really want to say, hey, I can either bet Day, Finau, and Dustin or one Scotty Scheffler? I'm starting to think that the bet is actually Scotty Scheffler there.
And this is the quandary in the card construction. And I go back and forth. And last week I thought for sure I'm going to bet Scheffler and someone else I love in the 20s. And Scheffler, Rory, someone, maybe even Rahm, and someone else in the 20s and just call it like hey, I'll have some other, I got my Finau future and maybe some long shots I'm a sucker into. And then I wake up this morning and I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. I don't know that I have the willpower to just not make my card, which was just like 5 guys between 25 and 50 or something. But I don't think you're wrong. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to put all the chips in like on a guy. I've said a lot, but I've said nothing, and I'll just come back to say those odds, those specials that were out there, that were even in there into the early part of the season for repeat winners, you could have gotten this at a 14 or a 16 for a really long time. There were 14s and 16s, but I was like, no, I'm betting Tom Kim to win Wyndham at 33. So I don't know. I wasn't ready to do it because it went back to the point that I'm not ready to decide which really good player is going to win. I wish I had the courage then, or the foresight.
Give me the there's the 3. I'm taking Scheffler over Rory and Rahm. I'm not. I just don't want to overthink this. Like, he's playing the best. He won here last year. He's won a bunch already this year. And the shittier the conditions, like the better he's going to be.
And he's the best tee to green player on earth with Spiethian level around the green magic.
Yeah.
His hands compared to Rory, they're not even on the same planet. And that's not to say Rory can't win. I'll be thrilled for Rory. As Tim pointed out, the Grand Slam for him has been omnipresent from go in a way that it doesn't appear to be omnipresent for Spieth at the PGA. Now, I think that's just the lure and the magic of Augusta. We're going back to the same place where it's hard to sort of...
And he's had so much success at Augusta National.
Yes.
He just hasn't won.
And last year to see, what was it, like 35th after the first round and then to come finish second. I know it was a backdoor second that never really felt like contending, but it's a second. There's a bit of a mixed nomer on Rory. Maybe I used that wrong.
A mixed nomer? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said it wrong, and I might even be using the word wrong.
Okay.
Or the fake word wrong. The word I created.
I would think you should triple down on that.
So we're going to triple down. There's this thing like Rory always plays bad in the first round of majors, and if he just played well in the first round of majors, he would win them. But he has, like last year at the Open, like
except for the times that he plays well in the first round of majors, then he plays terrible in the second round of majors.
So it's not as simple as, if Rory just shoots me a 68, a 69, even maybe a 70 on day one, he's going to win this thing for me. Just avoid the total, the bottom out. Yeah. And your thoughts on Rahm? He just peaked too early, or you just doesn't even compare to Scheffler?
I mean, obviously they're comparable. I like Rahm more than I like Rory. And that's not to say that I don't like Rory, but it's not like you're going to bet two of these guys. Hell, it's a stretch to try to bet one of these guys at these odds. But you go back and look at the types of players that win at Augusta. Obviously, Scheffler is he just won, so it's very present in our minds. But the wins that you generally need to have during the season before you go to Augusta, two top 15 finishes in your past 3 starts is usually a trend line, unless you're Hideki. Hideki's like the one guy that is a complete outlier with any trend that has happened like the past 20 years or so. Him and like Angel Cabrera.
Yeah, and before Hideki won, I think I railed for months or that week, like, I don't want to bet Hideki because he hasn't tasted smoke in a year. Like, it's not that he hasn't won. Felt like he hadn't contended. He had some quick little fun thing in Houston, I think, in that mix before he won the Masters. But
yeah, he was in Houston the week before and he came 30th.
Yeah, but he never actually tasted any smoke, like contended or Sunday or even name on a leaderboard. So yeah, he bucks every trend that are all pretty reliable and consistent.
Well, I mean, the trend just points to good players win at Augusta. It's like going back, the lowest ranked player in the world rankings. And this is fudge now because the world rankings are so weird because LIV guys don't get world rankings points. But Bubba in 2012, or whatever the year he won, 2012, he was the 18th ranked player in the world. That's the lowest player on the world rankings to win the Masters over that time. People forget Danny Willett was the 12th ranked player in the world going into the Masters. He just happened to be 150 to 1.
Well, he actually went off at like 60.
He did, yeah, but but he had won. He won in Dubai, and that elevated him up. Then he came third at Doral, and that elevated him up. Like, he had a really good run throughout the course of the early part of the season. So, like, Bubba was the longest, most outlier winner that we've seen at the Masters. It was Willett, because people didn't know who Danny Willett was because he played on the European Tour. But worldwide, he was one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, at least form-wise coming into that.
So looking at it right now, if we just look at the world rankings, we say that no one worse than 18th is going to win. That leaves you with a pool of 18 players. Scotty, Rory, Rahm, Cantlay, Homa, Cam Smith, Xander, Zalatoris, Hovland, JT, Burns, Morikawa, Finau, Cam Young, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Hatton, and Sungjae.
I don't really have much to add to that. Like, who would you want to include in that?
Hideki?
Okay, yeah.
With these conditions, Lowry.
Oh, I thought you were saying Horschel.
No, okay, he was the name right above Lowry here. I may have don't bet on Billy.
Yeah, it sounded like I leaned in big there as you were like releasing that name.
I mean, Day is like 20 to 1. Yeah. But Lowry is, if you want to take a shot deep down the board, and when I say deep down the board, I mean above 50. The two that stick out to me, especially with these conditions, if these hold up, and that's why I'm going to kind of wait on some of this stuff. But we saw Lowry win in like these conditions at an Open Championship, if you recall. It was not pleasant at Portrush when Lowry ended up winning. And people forget Lowry was third at this event last year. So, like, the worse the conditions, I think the better it is for Shane Lowry. And Justin Rose would be the other one that I would look at. Like, if we're going to get into cold, windy, wet conditions, I want to start looking at some of the British guys.
Rose, maybe the best. It's like pure bent grass? Is that it?
Yeah, it's pure bent grass here.
He's like one of the best pure.
Has been his entire career.
I got to say something about
Reed as well.
Justin Rose. Can you give me a player statistically who went from literally like bottom barrel of something to now being one of the best?
Well, Webb Simpson went from being the worst putter alive to the best putter alive.
Okay. So
back to being the worst putter alive.
So Justin Rose pulled a Webb Simpson with how he uses the internet. Justin Rose forever, and I will die on this hill, was the cringiest like golf internet poster. Even his Father's Day posts were cringy. They felt like they were paid for by 7 sponsors. His like Bombonos or Bonos, whatever that
he
clothing.
was sponsored by Bono?
No, oh jeez.
There's a lot of suffering going on in the world.
He had some of those clothing shoots, just some really try hard. That was it. Try hard corny for a guy that like so desperately was a nerd or wasn't cool in his 20s, was now older, wanted to be cool. That's how I saw it. That's how I read it. I'm wrong a lot. Maybe I'm wrong about this. He has transformed himself into one of the best golf Twitter users or users of like pro golfers on the internet. After his win at Pebble, his lovely little trophy case post and making the room and leaving the spaces for momentum, and the video he sent out yesterday regarding his Masters prep and the green books, that was magical. That was golf interneting from a pro at its finest. So he did the Webb Simpson. He went from the worst to one of the best.
Unfortunately, that usually swings back.
Maybe, but it seems like he's gotten a groove. So I love that. And you think he's live here with those feisty Euros?
Well, it's funny because to look, and again, I want to wait for the weather to really smooth itself out the closer that we get. Because, I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, Saturday looks super rainy and super cold. If it's that rainy, it's that cold, they're just not going to play. Because I've run into this problem before. Like when Cam Smith won the Players' Championship, I was like, oh, the Cam Smith wave looks terrible. And then they just didn't play for a day, and then he got to be a part of the good wave, and all my guys got stuck in the bad wave. So I don't want to base all of my analysis around that. But when I do think of like waterlogged tournaments, not necessarily windy tournaments, but cold tournaments, you know who that does kind of benefit?
Dustin?
Dustin, maybe. Rory. Remember when he went to Congo? And it was him and Day, and like it wasn't even close. They were the only two players, I think, under par that entire week.
Okay.
And Rory like broke the course records.
But as we've sort of acknowledged factually, that outside of those like insane Rory all-time, maybe outside of Brooks at Shinnecock, like the most amazing performances I've seen in a major championship, if it does get really tough and the scoring is low, Rory does not like that.
Well, he won Liverpool at 5 under. I guess he won Valhalla at, like 19 under or something.
Yeah, I'm just saying the modern Rory. And he also rags on bogeys. But I don't disagree. Distance, clearly it's beautiful. The pictures of 13, I think, are beautiful. What has happened there, that's been dissected. But distance, right? With the wet course, people seem to be saying Augusta's always kind of leaned to the longer hitters. And now that they're probably going to have a even more significant premium this week.
Good for Min Woo. Top 10 in driving distance for such a little guy. It's pretty impressive.
So who does that hurt the most? Like the best players who don't?
Spieth.
Colin,
Spieth. Cam Smith, maybe. I don't think it like actively hurts players, but it just puts more of an advantage. Like there's not really any top players in the world who are short off the tee.
And you're right.
It's not like Brennan Todd is a top
And
10
to that
player.
point, the players of the elite category that we're discussing, that top 18 world ranking that can win, they're so good in all other aspects of their game, they can make that up. A player, just as an example, like a Brian Harmon, I know I'm going like way too deep, but just to use that skill set, he would have to be absolutely like perfect.
Yes.
There would be no room for error on the like he would have to be insane hot. Like
there could be no missed 6-foot putt
yeah,
for him
all week. So everything would have to go those guys' ways. Well, yes, a guy like Colin and Spieth and Cam, they are just so far off the charts in other areas that they can make up the 4 yards that would put them in this qualifying category per se. Like 8 yards?
Maybe. I mean, a lot of it's going to be carry distance, right? Because a lot of this strategy, one of the reasons that like the old dudes, I mean, this really hurts Tiger, I think. But one of the things that when it's baked out or a bit dry at Augusta is like you can be a shorter hitter and like, hey, if I hit it up there, it's going to hit that hill and it's going to roll all the way down. Now, the good thing about Augusta National, unlike any other course in America, is you have the sub-air system underneath of the greens at every course. Augusta has it underneath the entire course. So it will suck the fucking moisture out of the fairways, no problem.
And I don't remember who, but I remember listening to somebody in the last week or so as this weather was coming saying they were there, it was soaking, and they couldn't, it was like amazing how what was happening when like people who follow golf are used to a course being wet and those sorts of things not happening. So
it's not like playing at the Greenbrier and you have to turn a par 4 into a par 3 because the tee box is too waterlogged.
Yeah.
The LIV is going to Greenbrier.
Yes. Mind that. And they're
I
going to
actually like that course.
And they're going to Valhalla.
Are they really going to Valhalla?
Spain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sergio influence?
I guess.
Team Tarque, big favorite there?
Team Tarque. As we're still in the top something that I keep battling as someone that I feel like has wagered on Cantley quite a bit. And like you see enough.
Patrick can't win?
Yeah. But okay. See, that's also like, I got some hecklers who, the guy that would always call him can't win when I post him on a betting card in the comments has returned, but he disappeared for a little bit.
When Cantley was winning?
Yeah, I guess the FedEx Cup, like he took a year off or something from saying that to me. So I'm in this quandary of like, the stats are always good. The final performance always shows you enough where you feel like he's on the precipice of it to come back and do it. But now it feels like, and I'm surprised this morning he's as close as he is to Spieth. I honestly thought Spieth would be his own tier today. I see Cantley within 2 points of him in a lot of places. And
almost every place. So
they're tiered together. And Cantley is in that territory, Pat, where I love Patrick Cantley. But as, we've gotten to hang out over the last day, I said to you, Cantley is now at this territory where I don't think of him like DJ, Rahm, Day. I mean, Scotty, I wasn't expecting him to win the Masters last year, but
it made sense.
I'm now naming the players who won that first major at like pretty much the under 20 to 1 and under price. He is now, that's an ask that is, we've seen people struggle with who aren't of that, like, we think this guy will be a number one player in the world type skill set.
Guys that we have penciled into the Hall of Fame,
like,
essentially.
Yeah, like, I didn't, like, Day, Rahm, Dustin, I was like, I guarantee they win majors. I'd bet my life on it. I'm not betting my life Patrick Cantley's a one-day major champion. I expect him to be, but I don't feel like I would have arguing for those other guys before they got their first major. Also, the Masters, since we've been doing this show, it has been the first time major winner has been very kind to that like 40, 50 range. And even you can go back and add the Will at 66, but
Willett,
Reed,
Sergio,
Hideki,
yeah.
Reed, I think I just named 4 of them.
Yeah, but our golf betting odds have changed so much over the past, 2 years. That's why we're seeing so many of these like sub 30 to 1 guys win, because the guys that we are now 28 or 25 to 1, they used to be 45 to 1. They've just taken more handle on the odds. So that range that you're talking about, that like 40 to 50, 35 to 50 range where we saw the first time winners, is that now the 20 to 40 range? Because listen,
it could be, because you're right.
There's like 40 guys under 40 to 1.
And that don't have majors, right?
Yeah.
Like Cam Young, Xander,
Homa,
Willie, Homa.
Sungjae, Burns, Zalatoris.
It's that whole range is essentially guys who haven't, except for Morikawa.
But Morikawa is 25 to 1.
Okay.
Or 22 to 1.
Yeah, so maybe you're right. It's all gotten squeezed. Although we do say that the game has changed. It's harder to get the major tickets. It does seem like the 2 biggest future tickets that now have the best equity, forgetting the Brooks, you got your 75s, your 90s.
Homa U.S. Open.
Yeah, but even Homa Masters.
Homa's not going to win the Masters.
Okay, but I'm saying I see like 120 to 1s.
That's great.
No, I'm not betting him. I'm not here for it. But I'm just saying that's like the biggest move in CLV, although golf CLV, like, what's that worth?
I hope Homa wins. I don't want to say that I'm rooting against Max Homa. I love Max Homa. But I just want him to win the U.S. Open, not the Masters. That's where I have all my money invested.
I'm trying to figure out when these bets were made. Probably when he contended at the first major last year. But
I would say anytime pre-President's Cup.
No, I've seen 160 Cam Youngs.
Oh, 160 Cam Young.
And I've seen it from the whole stage lower. 160, 120, 100, 80, 60. I think going into match play, it was like 40, 45 on DraftKings. And then obviously...
He would become only the second player since Tiger won his first Masters to win the Masters after missing the cut at the Masters the year before. Reed is the only other one.
Yeah. And that's listening to, I'll give him a plug, Steve Bamford, who I think does great work.
Great work, Steve Bamford. Follow along.
No, in the golf podcasting space. He and the boys had a fair discussion, as, Cantley is statistically, he checks every box, but it's like Cam Young, like, who would you rather have? Patrick Cantley, who has never performed well in majors, ever. Like, it's weird. Although that one time he eagled 15 at the Masters.
He
I
came
think the
ninth
year
that year.
Tiger won.
Yeah, he still came ninth.
And I had
though.
66 to 1.
So did I. We were fired up for Patrick.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's making a run, and then he finished so early. Even like Bubba passed him at that point.
All the good players hadn't played the par. All the late tee times hadn't played the par 5s yet. What was I saying? I can't.
Young versus Cantlay.
But Cantlay's got like no major smoke, but you feel like he's more matured into the moment versus a player like Cam Young who's never won an event. Patrick Cantlay has a lot of wins. He has FedEx Cup wins. He has a Tour Championship, but he feels like his major performance. Does that equal out? Like, are they more of a coin flip to you, or Cantlay would clearly be in front?
I mean, if you asked me to bet one, I'd bet on Cam Young.
Yeah. So that was sort of the argument.
But you made the point, and we were talking about like square versus sharp betting, and this is the squarest move alive. But I do the same thing, unless the odds are like ridiculous. I'm not betting on guys I don't want to win the Masters. I don't want Patrick Cantlay to win.
Okay.
I am actively not rooting for him. It's not that I don't like him. It's like same as Xander. I'm not going to bet on Xander. I don't want to see Xander win. And it's nothing against him. I'd be fine if he won, I suppose. It's just I would pick 50 other guys I'd rather see win the Masters than him.
And I am guilty of this, and it's not, it's not like a sharp strategy, but I bet for fun. I'm not a professional bettor, sort of like the Super Bowl. Like, I'll make bets on things. The Masters, to me, like, I'm just going to, I bet on guys that I believe are good enough to win, but I also have to want them to win.
Yeah, obviously it's a terrible strategy. It's why I lose my money on Morikawa every single tournament.
But at the same time, there are... So, people can think differently, but I truly don't dislike any player. As I said a few times, the only player I kind of just don't want to see win is Spieth because he has so many majors, and I like cheering for losers with no majors.
So let's cross guys off who we're not going to bet. I'm not going to bet on Rory. Scotty, I'm leaving open. If I'm leaving Scotty open, then I'm not going to bet on John Rahm. Although I like Rahm a lot. You can tune into the DraftKings Millionaire Maker Pick Show that I did with Raza and Kenny that's already up on the feed. We talked about these guys at length and how we want to use them on DraftKings. Using a player in DFS and betting on them outright, I think, are two different things. Because you can play Scotty and Rahm together on DraftKings and you have to figure out the bottom of your lineup, which might be more viable now because of the weather that's moving in. Tambo and I will talk about that on Wednesday. However, if it comes to betting, only Scheffler can be up there. I'm probably not going to bet Spieth at 16. If he was like 25, I'd probably bet him, but he's 16. I'm not going to bet that. I'm not going to bet Cantlay. Thomas is a maybe for me. Day is a no at 20 to 1. Finau is a no at 20 to 1. Dustin is a yes for me. He's still in contention. Morikawa is in contention. Cam Smith is in contention. No Xander, no Max, no Cam Young.
What did you say about Morikawa? I missed that one.
I like Morikawa.
Yeah.
I don't know if the odds remain true to what they are right now and he's 22 to 1, I don't see myself getting there. Not a bad number, but it's not a good number. Yeah. So I've shrunk the bucket in half, at least for me.
So you took the 18 that you kind of dissected and cut them in half, pretty much?
I mean, we haven't got to the next level yet because, we'll get there in a second. Because there is a guy that I do want to bet from in there. But right now, I have to figure out what I'm doing with Scheffler before I can make any other bets in this range. Like, I do want to bet Dustin. Dustin is my favorite of the guys. And I've seen him as low as 30 to 1 in some spots, which is a very enticing
The Brooks thing
number.
is good for you wanting Dustin.
Yeah.
On every level, as I said with Tim, that if I'm going to get plus money, pick him Dustin v. Brooks, I'm on Team Dustin there.
And we'll talk about those bets, head-to-head bets, top 40 bets, make the cut bets, me, you, Cam, and Rob tomorrow on the Best Bet Show. That's going to be fire. But right now we're talking about outrights and one and done. So I'm abstaining from this range until I can make a concrete decision on whether or not I want to bet Scotty Scheffler.
I like Xander Schauffele, but I've been down this road before.
What is it that you like about him?
Just the complete game. Just he's contended here before. I liked how he played at match play. I just like how he's playing. That's of that range, but that could be a big mistake. And then you feel so dumb. Nothing makes you feel dumber. I guess before it'd be Spieth, but he's too short. When you bet Xander at say 25, but Colin at 24 wins.
Yeah.
This just like proven big game player who has an ability to spike. The weakness is spike for the moment instead of this Xander that I like 8s across the board. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I am. But I have to almost make a Xander v. Cantley decision for myself before I think I can move on, because what a torture chamber it would be for me to take both of them. Like, what an absolute...
I mean, why don't you just bet them both to finish inside the top 20?
what a
You might get your money back that way.
I like to say there's nothing I can bet that will make me not enjoy the Masters. Like, I will... You make an outright bet, just consider the money lost. That doesn't mean you don't like the pick, but that's how I look at it. And maybe that's silly, but it sets me up for way less disappointment on the weekend or when things go to total shit. And I love the Masters so much, I don't want to be in this place where I'm so bitter about it on Sunday.
I'm seeing a Dustin v. Brooks head-to-head right now. Dustin minus 140.
So doesn't that tell you a lot
Well,
about
Brooks-
what they did? The number was just people like,
Brooks won a LIV event. Yeah.
and I don't, listen, I mean, people thought I took a shot at Brooks this morning in the sense of quote tweeting his comment after he won yesterday. It almost seemed like he's not even sure if he's in form, if that makes any sense. And I know, like, when you're a player of that level, there's levels of form. But I've never seen a player on the PGA Tour, Pat, or the Euro Tour win, and they themselves are questioning, like, how good their form is. If that makes any sense. So I found that weird. Maybe I took a comment out of context. But I would love for Brooks. I want all those guys to be in it. I think it'll be so much fun. Brooks winning the week before the Masters is actually freaking awesome.
It would be the only way it could have been better is if Bryson won.
Sure. Same guy.
Or Phil.
Yeah. It just sets us up for such I love it. Like the real life storylines. I think a lot of the drama is overblown. I kind of agree with
Me?
you and Bubba in that regard. Like you said with Tim, who doesn't like Bubba Watson? You know, like who's gonna like give the stink eye to Louis Oosthuizen? These are just lovely human beings. Not all of them. It seems like Sergio and Ian might have gotten under.
You mean
some
the guys that no one liked anyway? Big shocker, people still don't like them.
Yeah, but like who's upset? It seems like Billy Horschel's upset.
That could just be an act.
But that's also just his personality. He seems like he could be a curmudgeon about like if you brought him apple juice instead of orange juice. So I don't know.
Let's go 30 to 60.
This is fun. This is
there's
where I'm
like-
going to lose money.
Because there's like 7 guys at 35 to 1. Connor, Sungjae, Burns, Zalatoris, Hovland, Hideki, and Brooks. All 35 to 1. Fitz is by himself at 45. And, as designated by Cust, cannot win this event. One of the 3 guys he said that could not win. Terrible form on Fitz, though. Hatton, Tommy, both 50 at DraftKings Sportsbook. Rose, Reed, Neiman at 50. Lowry at 60. Should we have the Victor Hovland discussion now? Because I think I'm going to bet him to win. I see the 40 out there. I'll probably bet the 40. I mean, I'm going to bet the 40 over the 35, obviously.
So, I mean, for starters, I do not have the willpower to sit. Well, I won't be sitting across from you on Monday. But to do what's going to be a great heritage show, it's the after party. You reminded me it's an elevated event.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Everyone's going to, that's great. It's going to be like a Masters after party and then golf sucks for a month, which is cool. We'll take a month, 3 weeks off mentally, but still lose money.
Yeah, the Custies will come out.
Yeah.
We'll have some NFL draft.
But I don't have the willpower as a human to tell me you think Victor Hovland's a good play and me not play him. So I was looking at it. And you, in your research show, spoke about how weird some of his master stats are versus...
It's not even master stats. It's major stats.
Okay.
The guy can't get up and down to save his life. Like, he's pumping Viagra into himself before every round. Still not working. Can't get it up or down at that point. Call a doctor if it's more than 4 hours. But at the majors, I don't want to say he has an elite short game, but it's been really good. Like, it's shocking.
So this made no sense to me. And then when... John Hasselbauer tweeted what you were talking about, but in a naked stat form. Like, there's no name on it. This is just a player's major championship stat line. And he joked that it's an elite short game player. So I'm staring at that tweet for like 30 minutes trying to figure out who I am looking at. And then to find out it's Victor melts my heart. But you might like this one. Is Victor Shallow Hal at the majors? Like, how? It makes no sense.
I mean, it could be a product of a very small sample size. And maybe the shot length data isn't calculated like for the Masters, like people have to do it by hand. So maybe it gets thrown off that way. Like there's different reasons why it could look that way. And frankly, like his ball striking performance isn't all that great. But the one thing that we talked about at the time last summer for the Open Championship was how well players do at St. Andrews and how well players do at Augusta. A lot of crossover there. I mean, Vic could have won the British Open last year. Instead, he wanted to shoot 72 playing with Rory. Both those guys were just having a green and regulation contest, but to see who could be farther away from the pin on their birdie putt.
Yeah, he could have won Bay Hill last year also.
Another one where, I mean, Tiger's played really well there over the years.
Scotty,
Kurt Kitayama. I mean, this weather is like Kitayama weather, by the way. He's a debutant, so that's not great. Would be the first.
He's probably the favorite in the top debutants. I was trying to run it through my head. We will maybe get there.
I forgot to ask this to Cust, but I did want to propose a rule change for the invitations to the Masters. If you are a debutante and you are the low debutante, I think you should automatically, regardless of the spot that you come in, get an invitation next year.
Low debutante gets an automatic return. I don't feel that strongly.
It's just, if it was the case last year, there was a tie for low debutante. It was Minwoo Lee and Harry Higgs. Wouldn't you love to see Harry Higgs at the Masters again?
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think who's even. It's
this
like
year?
Taylor Moore, Svensson,
Tom Kim, Mito. There's guys this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Victor,
Moronk, Thigala, Kitayama, Ryan Fox.
So
all guys.
big group.
All the AMs. Either way, that's just something I like. Listen, the Victor case is the same case that you always make. He scores really well on the difficult holes. His long irons are amazing. The ball striking has been amazing. Essentially, like if you compare what Hovland has been doing and what Finau has been doing, it's exactly the same. Yet Finau's 20-1 because he has good history here. But it's the same number.
Can I go back to Finau for a moment?
Oh, God, why? You trying to lose more money?
The bet's already in.
So you're going to bet Finau, Xander, and Cantlay area at the Masters? That's going to be your card? That sounds like a winner.
Not all of them, but probably two of those three. And Victor, people are probably laughing at us.
You're going to throw Tommy on there too? Maybe it'll be like the Royal Rumble where there's a mystery entrant. You can bet on Ricky too.
Tommy and Fitz, I guess, would fall into there. Could be a little short based on some of the statistical data, but they're the feisty Europeans.
Feisty Euro. But, I mean, they're the feisty can't win Euro. Like, wouldn't you just rather bet Lowry? Who might put himself out of the tournament, but it feels like he could actually win at the same time too.
Yeah, that's true. Finau, I feel like people are... There's a perception that he's not playing well, I feel, but statistically, I actually think he's playing great. He never loses strokes, it seems like, with his approach, Pat. And taking out match play, which is a bit of a thing, and he lost, I think, in a playoff in the pod. So I don't know what his finishing position actually counts as. But he hasn't finished outside of 25th place, like, ever in the last, 6 months? 4 months?
19th, 24th, 20th, 14th, 9th, 16th, 7th, 1st. This is his current run. It's great. And he gains like 5 strokes on approach every single week.
Every week, yeah.
The driving hasn't been great.
Weird.
Victor's driving has been way better.
Way better. Speed's driving has almost been better.
It just, when it gets to crunch time with Victor, what I worry about is, same thing we saw at Bay Hill when he didn't gag it, Scheffler won. But when he needed that up and down to tie Scheffler at Bay Hill last year, and he ended up losing by his stroke, just left it in the bunker.
Okay, this is just a Victor fanboy take that I'll probably use at the Masters each year, and I probably used it on the show last year. Because 2 years ago, he made like a triple out of the gate and was just smiley, happy-go-lucky guy, and then had an amazing week relative to the triple off like his first ever hole. And the year before, he was like the top am. So he's got great vibes here. And closely mown, I think, works better for Victor than the hosel.
Yes. Yeah, no, I would agree.
Like,
although I've seen him like duff off the closely mown.
I know. But the greenside hosel, like you missed the green by 2 feet at Bay Hill, and you are in the thickest greenside rough, like on the hole. He's just dead. He at least has a chance, I feel like, from the closely mown.
Well, you know what it might be if we're trying to figure out why his around the green numbers are not as bad at majors. It's because it's hard to chip at majors anyway. It's not like everyone is, oh, you're 15 feet off the green. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to play it like this. It's going to stop either in or 1 inch from the cup, like you see in your regular PGA Tour event, which Victor can't do. But no one can really do that at the majors. They're going to leave it 4 feet past, 5 feet past. But he'll make those putts, and other guys are just going to miss those putts. That's what I think the difference might be.
Well, it's that first time. It's that sweet spot of 40. And
listen, I'm not one who usually jumps on the Victor bandwagon. It's just something I noticed when I was doing the research. Finau, by the way, rates out 6th over the past 24 rounds of all players in this field. Scheffler, Rahm, Rory, 1, 2, 3. Cantlay, Homa, Finau, Hatton, Morikawa, Thomas, Hovland. That's the top 10. Taylor Moore is 18th. He's probably the best bet, I think, for low debutant. I think his game sets up really well for Augusta.
Yeah. Not that, I mean, off the top of my head, I think Kendiyama will be the favorite because he's just...
Tom Kim will be the favorite, won't he?
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that. He seems like so much...
Tom Kim is yesterday's news.
Honestly, you're on a President's Cup like you're so past being a debutant in some ways.
Tom Kim next week, Heritage. That's a Tom Kim course. Although he's playing like crap, so maybe nothing is a Tom Kim course at the moment. Either way, it's Victor for me that's getting the look here.
Who else? Him do anything for you?
Sure, but I'd rather bet Victor. Same as like they all do something for me. I mean, Connor's being the same number as these guys seems rather outrageous, but he just won. He has a great Masters history.
3 straight top 10s.
That's great.
I think Cam Smith.
We're talking about guys who win the
No,
event.
I know. I think I'm just saying I think Cam Smith is the only other guy currently with that.
All right, I'll take the guy that can make a 3-foot putt.
That is not to condone Corey Connors at, what is it?
35 to 1.
I bet him at match play. He was so good. He lost to Cam Young.
It's just of this grouping, like Zalatoris could be fine. And 35 might be a really nice number. And that number is only going to grow as the week goes on.
It's going to grow.
It'll probably end up at 45 or 50 by the time we get to Wednesday.
Phillip Rivers has a 45.
Yeah, that'll be 50 soon. Because no one's betting Zalatoris.
No one bets it. Everyone's got that meme 2-foot miss, 1.5 foot. Blah, 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 blah. But if he hits like a 10-footer on the first, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, maybe he's fine.
No one has gained more strokes on the greens than Will Zalatoris the past 2 years at Augusta.
So he's the shallow Hal.
So is Connors, weirdly enough. Like, Connors putts well with this tournament. I don't know why. I think it's because people like miss a lot of 3-foot putts. So they're just like, yeah, Corey does that every week. Now the playing field has been leveled a little bit. So for me, it's Rose, Lowry, and Hovland. Hovland I am going to bet. 40 is the best number I've seen right now. I'm going to see if that gets any better. But we thought it would open higher and maybe stay there. But every single person I've talked to seems like they're betting Victor. So I think I might have to get on the 40
You might need to get
now.
on it then. Because a few of these are going to go up, but the ones that drop that, get the steam, they're going to crater.
But I liked Rose anyway. I see him as deep as 75, which is the number that I would probably bet it at.
You like Rose over Hatton?
Yeah, I do.
It's just because he's a winner.
And at Augusta. It's not that Hatton's not a winner. Hatton hates this course. Really does. And that fucks with him.
Yeah, he can't be in a happy place. He can't sort of like it's hard to be in to get to a happy place when you start at the place someone like Terrell does.
Yeah, when you start off angry, it's only going to make you angrier.
But I'd love to see him in this thing.
Oh, man, he would be like, you would talk about like, I don't want to see Cantlay or Xander win just because I don't care. I would love to see Hatton win. Again, but he's like Homa. I would love to see Homa win. I just don't think that they're going to win.
So in this range for me, obviously I'm smitten with Victor, but Hideki.
I mean, I'm seeing numbers as low as 50 on Hideki.
Which seems like the course history. The fact he played, I'm not really worried about it. You don't play 4 rounds at the Valero if you are injured the week before the Masters. So I actually could make this bet. I mean, I'd make a lot of losing bets. So if he played horrible, missed the cut, withdrew after day 2, I would just chalk it up as a guy that shot 9 over and missed the cut, as some of my bets certainly will do.
Victor 40, officially in. Keep going.
No, I might have to finish talking and just jump on your back. I I had just the course history. I think he's healthy. I think the match play was just kind of took advantage of the format and the system. I don't really know. But yeah, Hideki, Victor, and M, I think are the three guys in this range. You know, before you chop that other range in half, that would be me chopping it in half. I'm not betting Brooks at 35. I'm not betting Max Homa.
How do you feel about Fitz? Because everything I kind of described.
Plays really hard, the European.
And he plays well at Augusta.
Big win in the bag. I actually don't think he's playing as...
He's playing pretty bad.
I thought he likes Austin, so he didn't play horribly there despite not advancing.
He likes here too. But I mean, he loves the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He did come in 14th at the API.
And that was after... The API was before or after the Players?
Before.
Because then he had a horrible Players, right?
Sure, but guys have horrible players.
I'm just...
But then he missed the cut at the Valspar, too. Which is
and then there's
great.
been rumors of a neck thing.
That's been a rumor all year. He was top 10 at Kapalua to open the year, and he's been kind of like mediocre to bad since.
If you're worried about if you need to qualify to be like a top X on tour distance to count to win the Masters,
yeah, but
he wouldn't...
He's longer than he used to be, though. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a part of his strategy all last year, and
I don't hate on it. I'm just trying to talk some
He has
holes.
gained on the field in driving distance in every tournament for the past 12 months except for Phoenix, where he slightly lost. So the distance isn't a problem for him.
No, it's not. It's amazing what some of these little guys can do. You see, like the ball speed that Padraig is pulling out these days.
I mean, I would like to figure out how to increase my ball speed on the course. I'm a little guy. I'd like to drive at 350 yards. Hell, I'd like to drive at 275. I just can't
What
do
is
it.
that all like? Just core flexibility training?
Which I have. I have great flexibility. I have great core. I train my core all the time. But
But that's like what leads to that, right? It's like endless core and like flexibility training
flexibility
to
of
then
your hip abductors and massive coordination.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
a
what
big-
these guys do better than anyone else.
big part of it.
Yeah. So Rose, Lowry, Victor. And Victor I'm officially in on. But that's my shrunken core from this range.
Okay, so you went a little bit higher. But
I mean, when I said
Yeah.
30 to 60, it's everyone between those.
sorry, I
numbers.
was just smitten in that range. Hatton there was some hype. Where was it? Bay Hill, where Hatton hit that. Yeah, I finished second.
Mm-hmm.
His Masters odds dropped to like 35-40 after that.
And then he finished second at the Players.
Oh, so maybe it was the Players. So after that, and then it seems like it's gone back up after the match play where we all bet him. And
I'm
missing
staring
the
at an
cut.
80 on Hatton. I don't want it.
It's a big number.
It is a big number.
Isn't he? I saw a few weeks ago or last week, Justin Ray posted a stat that he's the only player currently top 20 in like the three really important categories.
You'll have to educate me on that. What are the three really important categories? Are they just the categories that he ranks very highly in? So it's like, here's the Tyrrell Hatton one?
No, it was like the only.
I mean, Hatton rates out well. Let's see. He is top 10 off the tee. He's 11th in approach, 12th in par 4 scoring, 13th in eagles gained over the past 24 rounds. Statistically, with his game, he should be really good at this course, but he hasn't been good at this course.
So when I said like three important categories, I wasn't referring to like fluff things that could be important.
Tee to green, approach, and driving?
Only one player as of March 20. So this was a month ago, but this is when his number cratered. It was probably a tweet like this that would do it. Only one player is ranked in the top 20 this season on the PGA Tour in strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach, and strokes gained putting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You going to bet Hatton?
I don't think so, but 80 is big. 80, I could weasel that in on the back end and not even miss that money.
Do what you want. 60 plus.
Do you like Tommy or Hatton more?
Tommy? I don't like either of them, so. Rose.
Yeah,
Fitz.
you answered that.
I prefer Fitz over those guys if they're all going to be like around the same number, which at some sites they are, other sites they are not. So a 60 and above.
Can I give you a name?
Hit me.
Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed is 55 to 1 at DraftKings Sportsbook.
You know, I'm having trouble.
People are betting Patrick Reed this morning. He opened at 60 at the reset. Now he's down to 55.
I mean, the last time two tours kind of got really close to each other. Rory had to hit like a 14-footer with a little bend to it to beat him. He might be my, I don't know if it's a sneaky live, but as everyone be focused on like Brooks and Cam. Patrick Reed coming up the back.
I have 2 bets from this range. Minwoo at 150 to 1. He is now 65 to 1. I probably would not condone a 65 to 1 bet, although he is almost tracking exactly like Willett did, where we bet him versus where he's going to end up closing the week of the Masters, which is, good vibes for us. And obviously I bet Siwoo Kim at 125 to 1 with 8 places on Siwoo Kim. Because, Siwoo rarely misses the cut at the Masters. He'll break his putter and have to putt with his 5-wood. But he is he's doing pretty well. Those are the 2 that I'm in on. I like the look of Answer at 110.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's really it, though. Like, there's no one I really want to go digging deep on. I would probably wait to see what the conditions are if I wanted to take a chance on one of these guys. I'm going to be watching all the feeds at once, so I get a good feeling about a guy who I can see making a run, be it hey, Kurt Kitayama seems like he has this place figured out a little bit for being a debutant. Let's go with him. Hey, all of a sudden, Bubba Watson looks like he's kind of got it going on this week. He's 250 to 1 right now. If I lose that number and I have to bet him at 125, but I see things from him, then I'm okay with that. But those are the 2.
There's not really anybody I care much to dig.
I'm going to bet Cameron Champ top 20.
I've always thought Answer would fancy his way around here nicely, and I'm seeing some huge numbers on him. But there's no one here I'm really looking. I could go really deep and give you a name, but he's being held back.
Who? Kevin Na.
No, but this is an over 200 to 1 name. And maybe he might be ready for the PGA Championship, but he's just the worst putter on planet Earth. But he hits it like a superstar.
Are you going to bet Gary Woodland?
I'm not betting Gary Woodland, but it is the one guy who statistically does things in 200 to 1 that no one else is doing.
I don't know about that. I think you're really overrating. I mean, this is the same guy who's dumped strokes on approach to the field in 2 of his last 3. Can't putt and can't chip.
Yeah.
He's driving the ball well. So is Cameron Champ.
Again, like I said, maybe things can change for the PGA Championship, but he's...
I really think you're letting Genesis stick out in your mind. He had a great Genesis ball striking.
That's
been it.
Whatever. There will be no Gary Woodland wagers in my pendings. I don't... Even at 200 to 1, I don't care. Even that money could happen and be lost. But he's the one guy that's that far back that potentially could for me, but it seems insane. Seamus Power actually might be more attractive than Gary Woodland. But now I'm just naming names. We're talking outright Masters.
I would say Ryan Fox, then, if we're going to play in these conditions.
Yeah.
Just a super bomber who plays well in the wind.
Does Thomas Peters play well in the wind?
Does Thomas Peters really play well anywhere? Does he even play well on LIV?
I've bet him 2 times.
Did he win?
No.
Was he even close?
Not really. I just love the 35 to 1s they post on him, and I think I can catch a win at the 35 to 1.
We just need to bet Matthew Wolff every week on LIV because he's actually playing well.
But the problem is, Peter, the way LIV works is you're 35 to 1 or whatever number you are, but once you finish second place once, then you're 14 to 1. So you have to win. You have to win or you just lose your number. Much like in regular golf, you guys don't win, but the number's dead because they're playing well. Like Jason Day would be an extreme example of that. And I know people are mad that Jason Day numbers they stared at Christmas that they thought were just a little too short.
Do you think Jason Day is going to win?
No.
He's in the Brooks category for me, where I wouldn't be shocked if they won, but I really don't think they're going to win. It's. I mean, I've said it a few times, and maybe it's the wrong thing to say that Jason Day hasn't been in contention all year. But he has these top 10s. But what tournament can you remember this year that you're like, oh man, Jason Day might win?
No, I don't have.
None. They don't exist.
I don't have that memory. As we joked last week, when he was in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, whatever it was, and then he's deeply contending and has an injury scare. That's full Jason Day. Watching match play, it seemed like everyone was betting him to win the Masters. That was something I was not taking part in. He's even acknowledged through all the great success he's had with his current changes and swing that he's even said, I saw in an interview, it would have been in his last event, that he feels good, but he still doesn't know how his swing is going to react in the heat of it on Sunday. These were literally paraphrased his words. As we see all great players when they go on the droughts, winning again almost feels like they've never won again.
Yeah, you have to relearn how to win to open the floodgates of winning. I mean, we kind of saw that with Xander and Finau at the same time. Once they won, it's like they immediately won again.
Yeah.
They're like, I got the vibes going, let's do this. And Day's having a great year. He hasn't finished outside the top 20 in any event in 2023. But
he's
again,
perfect for this place.
And who did he lose to?
He was second.
He lost the Scott year.
Or the Charles year might have come and got him.
Let's see, Masters, he was 5th in 2019.
No, Scott was Cabrera and Hell. But maybe Day was third.
Yeah, Day was third. Day was a shot out of that playoff. And he came second the Charles year.
So the Charles barnstorm, man. Cam was so mad.
I won money on Charles, so I can't complain. It was like the first bet I ever made on the Masters. It was great. But Day, the odds are too ridiculous at this point. The last time he actually truly contended where he had a chance to win, I remember it very vividly because I was out of my mind, is when Luke List won the Farmers.
Versus Will in a
playoff. Because Day made that eagle from the middle of the fairway and he just bounced in on like 14. I was like, oh my God, Jason Day's going to win. He jumped into the lead and then he went full Jason Day and gagged it all back.
So Jason Day would probably be near the top of the list of player I'm not betting, but I would be so happy to see win. Like, I would be thrilled to see him win. Yeah. Like the golf fan in me, I'd probably cry.
I don't know about that.
Well, I can be an easy cry.
All right, let's do the quick picks for the Masters. Still deciding at the top. Obviously, all of that content will be coming out throughout the course of the week. Subscribe to the newsletter that will have the final betting card in it. Bets I have in so far. Victor Hovland, as throughout the course of the show, 40-1. Si Woo Kim, 125-1 with 8 places. Min Woo Lee, 150-1 with no places because we bet that a long, long time ago. So those are the 3 official ones I have in. I'm giving Scotty a look at the top. Got to think about what I want to do with Dustin, Rose, Lowry. That's where I'm sort of circling the drains on at the moment. I will be betting Spieth first round leader, even if it's 20-1. I don't care what it is. I'm betting Spieth first round leader. And Cameron Champ, I'm playing either top 10, top 20 to make the cut, whatever it might be. Just I have my feeling on Cameron Champ that he's just one of these Augusta guys. It's the only course in the world he can play well at now. And this weather looks great for him. He's bombing past everyone.
Dustin, I just want to dive deeper quickly into your thought process, and you want to see the number get bigger, which I think it can, but is there something like in the week? Because the weather almost makes him, it's ideal, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, the last time we had this kind of weather, he was winning the Open Championship by 700 strokes and didn't finish inside like the top 40.
Yeah, but that's because the day it got really nice, he played horribly.
Yeah.
Like Saturday was perfect weather.
The same thing happened to Morikawa at the Players this year. Everyone shot 7 under, and he was like 70.
Yeah, the weather was too nice for DJ. What is the number?
30.
So you'll get it then.
I know. It's out there now.
I don't even. Yeah,
but I have to figure out what I'm doing with Scheffler first.
Oh, okay. So I was like, there. But like, if you saw, say, a 35, or if it even got to 40, you're not.
Yeah, I'm betting.
Like, it's like, even with Scheffler, you can make that bet.
Yes. But if he's 22, then I can't.
But he's never getting there because he's not jumping below Brooks.
Well, he's 22 right now. He's airing at the 22 at DraftKings Sportsbook.
He's due for a major reset at DraftKings.
I agree.
We hope. Okay, that was your quick picks that I made longer. My quick picks. I just don't know, Pat, that I can play the top. I just like too many losers. I have a disease.
Yeah, but eventually,
responsibly,
we have to stop doing this because we keep losing.
I'm not. What is really, you people can have their opinions, but what has really just been so reliable for me over the years, I have not been able to break. And it's also like, it's not like I'm not betting good players. I'm just betting the wrong good players. You know, like match play. All my bets were Pool A players. They just, none of them made their group. The Final Four was all Pool Play players. I just picked the wrong ones. So I don't think I can get to the top. I have a Cantley Xander issue. It can't be both. I will.
Imagine betting Cantlay and Xander at the same money you could just bet one of the big three. Imagine that. You don't have to imagine it because that is the reality of the situation. Would you rather on Sunday, just let me ask you, Jeff on Sunday, let's say there's no weather problems, we're sitting there right now, where would you rather your money be allocated? On Xander and Cantlay, or Scotty Scheffler, or John Rahm,
Okay.
or Rory McIlroy?
Let's say Xander.
You get 2 for 1. Pick a side. I can tell you what side I want.
Let's say Xander is in the lead. Let's say it's a 3-way tie going
What
into
world
Sunday.
is Xander in the lead?
No, it's a
What are you
3
playing this on like Tiger Woods 2K, whatever that's called?
With Hideki, wasn't he put it in the water? He finished second. Anyhow, if they were all tied, and it was literally like the back 9 on Sunday, they're all tied.
The 3 of them?
I would probably, you're right, that I would still in my head be like, I think Scheffler alone is a better play than the 2v1.
The odds would tell you that too, because you would look at the odds and it would be like Scheffler minus 150 against those 2 jabronis.
So maybe I'll skip them both then. But I lean Xander. I have my Finau 50 future. I have Minwoo Lee 50 future. I am betting on Victor Hovland. I can't have you do that and then me be where I am with Victor in our relationship and abandon him here today. Willie's getting abandoned.
I'm still floating it around because it's not like it was the back injury that caused him to WD from match play. It was an illness.
Oh, it's not even that anymore. It feels like, at least through everything, the putting has always been bad. But it felt like there was always micro improvements, right? Like
Which, if you look statistically this year, he's been a much better putter. It's just he had the one putt at the match play and people lost their minds. It all depends on what you see, what jumps out to you, what the algorithm wants you to see. And I said, I'm not going to sit here and
if I was asleep since Christmas and woke up today, I'd be betting hundreds of dollars on Willie Z at 45-1.
But you saw a 2-second Instagram clip of him like
doing the...
Remember when John Rahm missed a 1-inch putt last year?
That was more like probably just like looked away. And different. That was like a full setup Willie Z yipping from a foot.
Sure. He misses 1-foot putts all the time. That's nothing new.
I guess he's so good last year at the majors. He's been good here before.
Now you're getting the best number you ever thought you would get on him this year.
And he's not.
And it's only going to rise throughout the course of the week because no one is sitting there and hitting Z. If they could do like control Z on their bets that they already have in, they would probably be doing that.
So Hovland and
Finau.
I've mentioned the Finau, Minwoo, and I have I'm looking at. I mentioned Hideki as a guy at 50-1. I think could be very attractive. You mentioned Justin Rose, so we'll see.
One and done picks for the Masters. I don't even know what the prize pool is for this. I assume it's very large. If you are out of the giant one and done so far, if you go to fantasygolfchampionships.com right now, link is down in the description, there is a brand new major season one or done that you can go play in. So I highly suggest that you go do that. And if you download League Safe Locks on Apple or Android, the app, there's a free Mayo Masters game up there. I think it's $500 to the winner. It's yes or no, like, will there be a hole in one? Yes or no. Very rudimentary pool. That's also down in the description. I would highly recommend that you check that out. Obviously, Cuss is taking Cam Smith. That is his pick to win. Tambo and I will break down the strategy behind one and done later on Wednesday. I am going to take Iron Chef. Scotty Scheffler is my one and done. You? Patrick Cantlay.
Can I slow us down one moment?
Did you just make your pick?
Xander.
Okay.
We did not talk about for one moment a player. Not for one moment. And it's not Tiger Woods.
Is it Bruno?
Who?
We don't talk about him.
Oh, I should know that. I live in that music. Justin Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned him as one of the guys I'm leaving on my list. You love Xander and Cantlay at the same odds. I just assumed you didn't like
that's
him.
what I mean. It's all...
And Finau. So you have him rated... I like that you have JT and Morikawa, the two guys that I usually bet on, behind all these other guys.
I'm not saying they're behind.
You bet on the other guys.
I didn't bet on the other guys.
You want to bet on the other guys.
Just because I want,
You already bet on Finau.
Xander at like 28-1 to me. If seems like a really good bet. Now the smart people who do this probably play that with placings and they make money on it. Don't. I bet Xander to win, and that backfires. And I don't take the placings. Other than Cam Champ, is there any placings player you're excited about?
That's it. I mean, I'm not even really excited about it. It's just a hunch. I can see Moronk playing well. He kind of has the game for this place. When he won at the Irish, he was in like these sort of like shit conditions. It's his first time at the Masters. He hasn't been playing all that great. I don't expect much from him, but he's like a guy I'll play on DraftKings. Fox, same way, and Fox just had like the worst week ever in Houston. So if there was any like buzz for Ryan Fox, it is gone now. But that's it for us. Any final thoughts?
I am so excited to be here to get to make DraftKings lineups for myself.
Play in the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League.
I will do that.
It's down in the description right now. It's almost full. It's 74% full already on a Monday. It's going to be full very soon, so you best get your spots. That will do it. If you want to get in on the giveaways, hit the Mayo Media newsletter. It's free to join down in the description. You can find all of them there. The big one is to rate and review the audio podcast. Download it as well. We need to boost those numbers for this week. Leave a 5-star review, something you enjoy about the show, and that will get you 10 ballots if you do it on Apple. You get another 10 ballots if you do it on Spotify. All right, 20 ballots. Over $1,000 worth of giveaways. 600 in cash. If we get 200 new Apple ones, then I'm going to increase the cash prize pool for everyone out there. So go do that, okay? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!